Bellerophon. Chimera. No. It's time to get into the discussion on the Northman. Let's go. So a few days ago, I don't know how many days ago, this week, sat down and watched The Northman, finally. And I have to say that, actually, it wasn't this week. It was actually a week ago, almost. I think last Sunday. The week went by so fast. Sat down and watched The Northman. I'm late to the party. Most everybody watched it, I don't know, probably 6 months ago. But got to watch it. And I liked it. I don't know that I liked it as much as other people. And I'll get into that. So, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, like I have been, on and off, which is why it took me so long to watch the movie. The film is rooted in Norse mythology, and that's kind of cool. And it's not in a way, obviously, like Marvel, MCU, who, if you know Thor, that is Norse god, thunder. The Northman takes the myths much more seriously. It's a story that takes place in Viking times and treats the mythology as something that is very real, and it's woven into the story of the Northmen. In fact, it's prefaced with a conversation, voiceover that speaks directly to Norse mythology, Norse gods, and Valhalla, things like that. So this is very much woven into the DNA, not only of the story, but of the film presented. It's a much more serious situation. It doesn't treat the myth as like it's like fantasy or anything like that. This is like fake. And that way in is actually what I liked most about it. That it's such a, you can look at it like a, that's actually the second best thing I liked about it. The second level most about it. The fact that you're looking at this story from the perspective of a, as if it's like a, it's a serious fantasy situation, like Lord of the Rings, where everything that happens, there's a lot of magic and there's fantastical things jumping off, but it's real. It's treated with respect and some seriousness. And the Northman does that with its source material. The actual best thing I actually liked about it was how much it feels like something from Shakespeare. I didn't know this, though, in some of my research about the movie, that the story of the Northman, supposedly inspired William Shakespeare with Hamlet, which we all know Hamlet inspired tons of things. So, which inspired The Lion King, which inspired all these other things. And so, to me, the first layer of like love that this film gets from me is the Shakespearean nature of it. It's a straight up revenge tale. You have a son who is tasked with avenging the murder of his father, the king. And as he's a child when he's tasked with this, he grows up and loses his path, and then he's reminded of what his sort of mission is to go ahead and get justice for the murder of his father. And who committed the murder? But if I say Hamlet and Lion King and all this, I mentioned those pieces, you have to know who the murderer is, right? Right? If you don't, this is not a spoiler, but I'm going to tell you that the murderer is the prince's uncle. Now that's a thread. That's, Hamlet's got that, Lion King's got that, the Northman's got that. So now you know immediately what the story is about. You got the kid who's got to go kill his uncle at some point. That's the path he's on, and I think I like that a lot about the movie, the Shakespearean nature of it. Anybody who knows me knows. Well, I don't know if everyone who knows me knows this. I don't know if they do, but there are a few people who know this about me. I'm a huge Shakespeare nut. As a writer, I'm able to appreciate the written word, and Shakespeare, to my knowledge, based on my schooling and education and everything else, he's one of the great wordsmiths of all time. Is he the best? I'm not saying that, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the guy. So immediately within the first few lines of dialogue in this movie, it was like, oh, this is like a Shakespeare play. I think I like that a lot. From a film standpoint, though, it's got a lot going for it. It's a busy movie. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a huge movie too. Like, as far how it, and what I mean by that is, it's huge in scope. The way it's shot is it's a honest to goodness movie. There's some great wide shots. There's great tracking shots. There's some fantastic single take shots where action is happening and the camera's moving or whatever, and it's not taking you out of the moment. You're able to see everything happen as it's happening, spatially where everybody is, what action is happening. There's not any weird cuts. There are some films, that do this in action sequences where there's a lot of quick cuts, and sometimes that's cool. But I think that if it's done well, the trade-off is there are some films that do it and it leaves you more disoriented and disappointed with what you're seeing on screen. You don't feel like you're getting you're getting to take in all the action on screen. And if it's not done well, you feel like gypped a little bit. If it's done well, then it's not a problem. You don't notice it. This film doesn't have that problem because the editing is actually fine, generally speaking. But when you get to the action sequences, and there are a fair amount of them, it's the one take shots are pretty cool. I'm always a fan of single take situations, especially if it's done well and you can't really see stitching. You don't see, if you're obviously in the moment, you're not really paying attention to where things are stitched or anything like that. But I think that this film does a good job at giving us what we should be seeing on screen. The action is sound, by the way. It's good action. It's pretty. It's violent. This is, and again, I think, and it took me a minute I had to remind myself that this is a Viking era situation. So things are decidedly quite brutal during that time. There's not a lot of sugarcoating around what's going on. That's just what it was during that time. It's bloody, it's violent. It's not a place you want to be, and if you were living during that time, that's what it was. So yeah, I think that's accurately depicted, and that was cool. It's not comfortable to watch, but you appreciate the accuracy or the care that the filmmakers put into making it feel like they were really thoughtful about making it something that you want to, hey, look, this is, they really thought about it. They did some research, and it shows. It's on screen. Right. That's the other thing that I appreciated about it was how spiritual it was. There's a spiritual aspect of it in the way, almost like the closest thing I can compare it to is Black Panther. If you've seen Black Panther, and I think also Shang-Chi, you can put that in there. There's a couple other films that actually don't shy away from the mysticism, the sort of spiritualness of the culture that's being depicted on screen. I mentioned Northman deals with sort of Norse, Icelandic, Viking mythology and things of that nature. There is everything sort of within the culture that we understand and we know about it. Everything that we understand and know about the culture, and not in a way that's sort of stereotypical. It's done in again also takes the culture of Viking times, Icelandic, Norse stuff seriously, and right down to like rituals and sort of hymns and songs that are sung, and all of that type of stuff it feels very much like if almost like it's almost like you're watching a documentary, and you're getting a glimpse of these people as they would have been living during the time, and that's cool. I appreciate I always appreciate the care and thought that goes into stuff like that, and so that they made sure to include that, and I think that actually it also adds to the overall feel of the film. It makes it feel much more full-bodied. It's a living, breathing situation where not just the story is concerned, like the revenge tale. You care about that, but you also have there are other elements in it that give you a sense of the culture, the sort of lifestyle, the time period, all of that stuff that's neat. It pads it out and makes it much more rich, and it's not just like fluff. So that's also great about the film. The acting was fantastic. You had some heavy hitters. It's a serious cast. You had Ethan Hawke, Nicole Kidman, freaking Willem Dafoe, Anna Taylor, what you call him? I can't believe I'm messing up her name. She's amazing. Anna Taylor-Joy, messing up. She's fantastic. And Skarsgård, the guy, look, the cast is great. And they really commit. Although I'll say this though, there were two things. Everybody comes with their A game. They come with it. I had moments personally where I felt Nicole Kidman, as fantastic as she is, there were, and I don't know if it probably was just me, my first viewing. There were parts where I was having a hard time sticking with her, and I don't know if that was me and the mood I was in when I watched the movie. I don't know what it was, or did she just feel off to me at certain points in the movie? Did she feel inconsistent? So I'm still not sure about that. I'm still thinking about that. Aside from that, everything else was fine. My only other issue with it, the only thing that sort of got me like whatever, was the romance element. Now, you guys have heard me talk about my feelings about movies and how they do romance. You might think that I don't like romance in movies, which is not true at all. What I don't like is how the romances feel contrived sometimes. And the Northman, it feels contrived a little bit. You have these two people that happen down the ship. They happen to, as soon as they make eye contact, all right, they're going to be seeing what's up. They're going to be romantically hooked up at some point. Cool. Fun. What I appreciated though, was how there was not a Emmett. I can't remember his name. I think he, Emmett, whatever it is. I can't. I know it's like Hamlet. I know that's the name. It's like Hamlet, but it's like the letters are switched. Skarsgård's character doesn't immediately start hitting on her, which I think is cool. I appreciate that because at this point he's remembered what his mission is, and the mission is not about trying to hook up with some girl, and he's focused, and I like that. that he wasn't like, yo, what's up, girl, immediately. So there was some room before different things went down, which is cool. So, but it's look, that's really the only thing that got me. The emotion was there. I felt it. I was with the revenge tale. I love a good revenge story. I think you can't really go wrong with a good revenge situation, because those stories tend to be more focused. There's not a lot of extraneous things in the mix that are detracting. Like, well, if it's done well, you don't have a lot of things that are taking away from that. You can have sort of slight detours and things, I think, and still make sure the story is cool. But I think inherently a revenge tale is pretty. It's kind of. It's hard. You have to really be trying to mess it up, because at the end of the day, you have character A who was wronged, and he's got to go deal with character B, and that's the story. That's it. You spice things up to make it interesting. You throw in some little romance in there, throw in some witchcraft, some magic-y things, different things that are sort of like give it some flavor. You don't want it to be boring. Obviously, that's the worst thing you could do, is to make it boring. But inherently, the revenge situation is pretty straightforward, and I think the Northman nails it as a revenge situation. It's great. The visuals are fantastic. The cinematography is good. Oh, the score is great. The musical score is pretty serious too. Like it's the most, especially when during battle sequences and stuff, and some of the quiet moments. But the battle sequences particularly, the music it's very visceral. It has this like there aren't really words for it, but it shakes your chest. It feels like you're about to go to war. Every battle sequence where the music is rousing, and it's like it's almost like it's unsettling a little bit how it hits. It's like, whoa, it feels like this is like a tribal, visceral situation. And if you're not ready for it when it hits you, and every time it always like, whoa, that is like serious. It's so yeah, musical score is amazing too. So just if you're curious, check out the Northman. A lot of people had a lot of good things to say about it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I appreciated it. Again, it's got I think its Shakespearean sort of connection is largely what sort of ekes it into the okay, I'm with it camp. I'm with that film. I would watch it again. Sure, I would definitely watch it again. I think that's a measure too. I think if you could watch a film again, that says something. I would watch it again. I love Anna Taylor-Joy. I'm a fan of hers. I love Willem Dafoe. I think Ethan Hawke is great. So the actors I'm fans of them. So they're good. The movie's solid. Yeah, this is it's a decent film. Check it out if you're curious. No Letterboxd review up yet, but I'm gonna get to it. I have a backlog of different things I'm working on. Got to get those things done, and then I'll get the Northman review up. But for now, I think that's it. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you taking the time to get through. This is a little bit longer one. So if you've made it to the end here, I appreciate it. For now, I'm going to get myself ready. I'll be back with some other videos and stuff, but I'm going to shut this one down. So I'm out of here.